Hey everyone. Hey everyone, welcome back to Let's Build Some Ships. This is the last episode of the EOL fleet, which is what I've come to call them. EOL stands for Echoes of the Lost. It's my gaming community. You should look us up if you ever get a chance to. We're on Discord and some other things, but yeah. So this is the last ship I'll be building for this fleet, and it's going to be a carrier. This is going to kind of be a carrier slash world ship, so it'll be like the destroyer was, but bigger slightly. I've got the chassis built already. It's off screen, just haven't shown it yet. But the basic plan, yeah, I'll just show you here. So this is the idea I had, and this is probably going to change a bunch. But basically I just wanted like this. Like, I like to build ships outside in. Sometimes I'll do inside out, but this one is definitely outside in. And I built the hangars first, and then I've just kind of very roughly blocked in some of the stuff. I haven't really done a whole lot with it yet. I think the hangars are already looking sweet, though. Like, I really like that. Just like with the bars along the side like that, and then these force fields, really cool. It feels very Star Warsy, but anyway. And then I've got the engine blocked out and stuff, and like, yeah, this is going to be a very large, very large ship. And this one's not really going to be one to move. Like, there will be engines, so technically you could move it, but it's really just going to be one of those ships that jumps in, and then that's your base of operations. Like, that is your ship then. So don't get it destroyed. And because like the idea I'm having is everyone will have their own base with the ships in it, and that'll be your respawn point. But then each ship will have to be brought to the area. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. I see the original idea was for me to have two fleets in their base of operations. All the ships they're going to possibly use and have will be there, and they'll be far enough away from each other that that they can't attack each other at that point. So you pick your side, you go to your fleet staging area, we'll call it. You pick your ship. Your ship will have a jump drive on it, and all ships will have a jump drive that can activate once. You're allowed to activate it once to get to the war zone, is what I wanted to call it. So then you jump to the war zone, and then there's like no all holds, like no holds bar I think is what they call it. I can't remember what the term is, but basically everything goes at that point. You can blast the heck out of each other and have fun, and the first team to either destroy both capital ships or the other team runs out of ships to use. So so basically that's the same thing I just realized. Because if you don't have any more capital ships, you would technically be out of all Anyway, I'm confusing myself. So I haven't thought that far ahead. I've still got to build the other fleet. But the EOL fleet, after this one is done, will be complete. So I'm going to let you guys go and work like heck on this. It might take me a couple more days like before, but I'll show you the finished product in a little bit here. It'll be like nothing for you guys. It'll be like a second before it happens, and for me it'll be a couple days of designing. Hopefully, I don't know. The last ship I thought would take me more than a couple days, but really it went pretty quick once I had an idea of what I was doing. So mirroring mode really helps on that. So, alright, thanks, and I'll be back in a minute. Hey everyone, welcome back, and yeah, the carrier is done. It's a few days later. Probably more than a few days. I think it's like 4 or 5 days later. But yeah, so I started this thing I think last Thursday. It's now Tuesday morning, and I finished it up. A lot of stuff went into this that I didn't think was going to go into it in the first place. So that's kind of what took me so long. That and the fact that my life is kind of hectic right now, expecting a kid and all kinds of stuff like that. So, but yeah, so this is the carrier, the EOL carrier, and a couple things to note on this. It's massive. It's like, here's the destroyer for scale, and if you look, it's like at least 20 blocks longer than that. It's a little bit more bulkier too. Not as much armaments, obviously, because it's a carrier, not a destroyer, not like a combat vessel. This is the carrier to carry the combat vessels. So, excuse me. So one of the cool things in this we have here is the forward hangar. Now this can hold a bunch of ships. We got enough couplers to have, let's see, 4, 8, 12 of different types. I think the I can't remember if it's the fighter fits. 2 of these will fit fighters, one of them will fit 4 gunships, so you can get those on there. And then actually, let's just go through from the front to the back. We'll walk inside. I'll show you, give you a tour of the inside of it, because there's a couple surprises. So it's kind of dark in here. Let me get in, turn the lights on. You can see I have these lights to kind of show you where to go. There is a button over here that'll turn the, there we go, docking lights on, the bay hangar bay lights. And I excuse me, I have the lights all on buttons and groups. That way, also there's lots of interior turrets, so good luck trying to board this thing. I have all the lights on groups that way, because the ship takes a lot of RAM to have on your thing. And that kind of brings me into the next point. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do the large ship battle type things that I want to do, because between that and this, my system's already like hard pressed to do this lag free. I suppose you could have some, but you'd be limited to 2 of these and maybe 2 frigates and like a couple smaller craft. I don't know. I can't see it being very epic as like I wanted it to be. But yeah, so there's that. Also, we got some nice maintenance bays up here. If the ship takes damage, this one goes down. Let me just turn my lights on so it's a little easier to see. So we come down here, go through these airlocks. Not everywhere has oxygen, and it's like this in both the bays. So if you look, you got all your access to the panels and stuff, to conveyor tubes. So the conveyor systems are for the most part all connected. Very few of them aren't, and that will be rectified eventually. I do plan on fixing this thing up, but so I'll just keep my light on. Well, we'll keep it off until I need it. So this is the main hangar, the front hangar, hangar 1. There's 3 different bays. Anyway, so it's pretty simple the way it is. And then we'll turn this light off, and we'll head into the bridge. Bridge is at the front of the ship, just because of the way I had to build this. And I love the way the bridge turned out. So we hit this light, get our bridge lights on. Very blue. I like that. I think it's very kind of futuristic. Got 2 programmable blocks here. We use a couple mods on this, the shields and the advanced LCDs, customizable. This is the captain's seat here. If we go inside here, you can see we have welcome captain. I think that's cool. It tells you the current time and date, your location in space if you ever need to tell someone where you are GPS wise. It'll give you a power readout, and if there's damage blocks, it'll read them down there. And then we have our altitude, speed, dampeners are on, stop distance and stop time, and ship mass. And we also have a nice little GUI for the shields that are on board. That way we can keep an eye on how low they're getting. So that's it for the captain. I haven't really done much there, but if you come down here and you look in this, we have 2 gunner seats. It tells you ammo supply and a little small damage readout. That's the same on both sides. And there's air up here and some interior turrets. Some of the interior turrets are hidden up into the rafters there. So we got our gravity, and then our timer and program blocks for the things we are running here. So we'll flick this light off on our way through to the next area just to save some RAM. I'm on a lower rig here. Now this is the coolest part. Yeah, lower rig. That way I can't really do a whole lot with So let's turn the lights on. This is our production hangar. Now, this took me the longest to figure out because it has projection blocks and how to basically set it up so you can produce ships as needed. But now that I have it set up, I could easily duplicate it. It's pretty simple. If you look here with our lights, I need to get lights on those, but you can see all the bays are numbered 1 through 6, and you can either, let me see here, you can either come over to these buttons and push them for the different bays. To these 3 control these 3 bays here, and these 3. The 4th button on both of these is for the lighting, but the 3 are for the 3 bays. So let's say you're in the middle of combat and your ship gets blown up, you respawn, you need another ship, then you need it fast. So you come up here and you hit the button. It will turn on a series of events that basically spawns. Light is red, you can't go in there because you'll get hurt from the welders. Excuse me. Light is green, it's fine to come out here. And you can get in your brand new ship. And I think it's 5. Yep, you hit 5. It breaks you free of the merge block and you are free to go. Yep. And you turn our weapons on. And nice. So, I haven't shown you guys what the shields look like yet, and I may as well. It's pretty cool. So let's do a little strafing run here on our own ship and just fire a couple missiles. See, it's not really doing anything. And you're like, what? You can see that blue. Beautiful. That's the representation of the shields on there. And the destroyer has them too. You can see. Can't really see when the rocket hits because there's too many particles going on. But another cool thing, we're in creative mode, so I can do this right now. Let me get in here, and I'm going to show you what happens. Normally, kamikazing is like one of the best ways to deal damage to a ship, but watch what happens when you ram this thing. I'm going to survive it, so because it's creative, but there's what. Look, absolutely nothing to the ship we hit, but totally wrecked our ship because our shields were not stronger than theirs. Alright, we get my stuff back on here. But yeah, look how much that wrecked. Just get rid of this debris. But yeah, super strong. Even with our fighters being pretty nimble and quick, you'd have to hit a lot of these. Let's quickly go back into the bridge and see how much damage we actually did to the shields. Nothing. We did nothing to the shields, so that should tell you a little bit of how strong the shields are. You need much larger ships to deal damage. So that's, you can do it one by one, or you can come here if you're like, alright, start of the match, let's definitely start all these up. You get a little bit of lag here because it's a lot of stuff going on at once. But if we come through and connect all of these, wow, massive lag actually. Let's just stop for a minute and let that finish up. Now if we come up here and look, we have a full allotment of ships. That one's good now. But yeah, all 6 of these bays are now filled, ready with ships to go. So super happy with how this turned out. Make it really good for those combat missions where you need a lot of vessels going at once. Let's flick the lights off in here and go back to part number 2 about this ship that I really like. Let's turn the lights off for this one just so you come in here and you're like, whoa, that's a massive hangar bay. Wonder what that's for. If you come up this way, we can quickly do a little quick tour through here. We got oxygen generators and tanks going on through here. We got a small airlock to get out to the hangar bay. If we come around this corner here, we got 2 med bays mirrored on both sides. Over there we have it too, and some cryo chambers. If we come down a little bit further, we come to the hangar control. All of this is insulated and airlock or air pressurized, excuse me. Come here, let me see, I think it's those two. No. 2 of these buttons. I think actually it's the left two. So hit these both. We have our hangar bay lights come to life. So we have, I just realized the only spotlights on one side. I'll have to fix that. But yeah, so you have hangar bay in here as connectors, emerge block, and landing pads, just depending on which type of vessel, but it's big enough to fit all the frigates I've made. And I know that might seem crazy, but it actually works. And because of the merge block and the connector, you can literally, and they're all large blocks, so it works perfectly. You just come in, connect up, and you're part of the ship then. And this thing can literally carry you, like jump you anywhere. So I don't know, I thought it was a cool feature. It might be a way to like start with an extra frigate that's protected, or maybe the support frigate could start in here and reload. Lots of opportunities. All of them fit in here except the missile frigate. So the drone, the support, and the assault frigate all fit. The missile frigate does not, but that's one of the small things. It's just not enough room on this thing to really fit that big thing in here. So let's flick these lights off again. Let's just flick the, I think that's the, yeah, let's just flick the center hanger off. We'll keep the side lights on. And we'll go back to engineering. So this is the far back of the ship. And oh, lights are already on back here. And I love the way this turned out. We also have another shield marker here. And our shields are up in this area. More. We have reactors. Made all the lights green so they match the reactor colors, the blue lights of that, and the why can't I think of the word? The FTL drive and stuff, and the engineering stations here. If you look up, we have welcome engineer, current time and date, speeds. So some of the stuff that's up in the cockpit reiterated here. More power output, no damage blocks and ship mass, all good there. Then we have a power summary for the reactors, very clearly stated here. We're in creative, so it won't show much on there. More gravity. And yeah, I think all that's left is to do a quick flyby of the outside. Let me flick the lights off in here just to save a little bit more. Yeah, even with the lights off, it still looks sweet. We'll go out the main hangar doors. Let's head down here, around the corner. So yeah, I really love the way this ship turned out. It took me a long time to figure a lot of the minor stuff out, but once I did, I'm very happy with the results. These are upside down, that's weird. Just realized that. Oh well. Out here in the main hangar we do have more button pads to help turn lights on and so forth. I think that's for... Is it the first two again? Yeah, so flick the lights back on out here to get some more light going. Turn those off and we'll exit out the bottom here. Wait for the light to kick back in, so the exterior light, there we go. So the ship is not pretty. It definitely looks like it fits with the rest of the fleet. I did with the white lines and the colors and everything like that. It moves decently too, surprisingly for the size of it. But yeah, it's not super defended. I named it the EOL EVAD. I think that sounds cool. We have one defense turret up here for large ship fighting. If you want to, the gunners can access that from inside the bridge. Otherwise, these small or light cannons, I think light ship cannons they're called, Then we have, yeah, they're interspliced with these defensive turrets. These are set to attack small ships and players, whereas the heavy cannons are meant excuse me. Whereas the heavy cannons, these light cannons are meant to attack frigates and stuff. And then each of the hangar bays has 4 of these small ship protectors near them. So you'll have to destroy these before you can really start getting into the hangars, obviously. If not, you'll be attacked by all those. So lots of stuff, lots of defenses to get by. Even the large frigate hangar below has some defenses on it. I might add a few more, but right now there's just the 4. Plus the ones up here along this bottom. The forward section is way more protected than the back, but that doesn't make sense actually. I probably should have the back more defended because that's where the shields are. But regardless, the ship's done. I'm gonna post it on the what's it called, workshop. And so yeah, the fleets are done, or the fleet is done, I should say. EOL fleet is finished. Had a lot of fun with these larger ships. I had more fun with the ships as I went on. It's kind of weird how that worked. The small ship, the fighter, I had the most fun with. The hardest time too, actually, figuring that out. Well, maybe not as hard as these docking bays, but yeah, that ship right there, I loved the building. I love the way that turned out the most. Then probably the assault frigate, followed by this destroyer, the Burke, and the carrier. It's utility-wise is really cool, but not really combat-wise. I tend to favor combat in this game. Utility's cool. There are some good utility designs for like single player and survival mode, but for combat, definitely prefer these type things. Plus the way these wings turned out. I've never worked with rotating hinges like this before on these ships, like this one and the frigates, and I just have to say I love the hinge blocks. Like, super cool, super neat looking when they're done. Add some angles that this game just really doesn't have yet, except for mods, which I also kind of went mod crazy. I know I was trying to say at the beginning that I wasn't going to go mod crazy, but I ended up going mod crazy because it's just too cool looks to not do that. It's just too much awesome stuff, and I think that's why they lag so much. It's not necessarily how big the ships are, it's how many triangles and polygons are trying to be rendered on the inside. Like, there's a lot of things on some of these mod blocks that are just so hard to... I'm trying to think. Probably, okay, the weapons, the engines, and the reactors and the control consoles would probably all disappear if you tried to play this in a what's it called, in a vanilla mode. So yeah, the hangars. Okay, the main body of the ship wouldn't, like the conveyors and the building blocks and stuff like that. But definitely would not recommend loading this into a vanilla world, because you would lose half the ship, I believe. The same goes for all the ships really in this series. I'll have to compile a list of what mods I use just so you guys can load these in with blueprints. Hopefully I'll do that soon. And I'll do another video after this one, a final saying goodbye of the whole EOL fleet. Do like a video for each of the... Like, I'll line them all up, and hopefully that'll work without too much lag. But, yeah, alright, well, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Share this with your friends if they'd be into this sort of thing. And don't forget to catch some of my next videos. Alright, thanks.